Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would add my welcome to those of Mrs. Pikte-Altan to this symposium, which is meant as a contribution to the 2016 World Humanitarian Summit. My particular thanks to the Director General at the United Nations in Geneva, Mr. Michael Möller, and to the Chief of the World Humanitarian Summit Secretariat, Dr. Jamila Mahmoud, for hosting this event. It is very encouraging to see so many representatives from both the religion and the humanitarian worlds, and the fact that many of you have traveled so long reminds us how important our work is. As we gather here today, there are some 180 million people affected by conflict worldwide. We have not seen such a high number since the Second World War. Often, we do not understand enough the complex causes for conflict. The proliferation of crises and needs is extraordinary, as are the dramatic humanitarian consequences. The millions of people affected by a variety of very different major crises place unique demands on all humanitarian actors. 80 million people worldwide depend on humanitarian assistance for their mere survival. The majority of them live in regions of conflict. It is sad but true that conflict will continue to harm millions of people and will indeed become a normal scenario in the next at least 10 to 15 years. Conflict will remain an increasingly important component of humanitarian assistance, and we need to be prepared for this and to look for new ways and instruments to tackle the needs. Allow me to take a moment to explain the source of the special concern that the Sovereign Order of Malta shares for people in conflict. As you may know, the Order was founded more than 900 years ago in the Holy Land as an institution to serve injured and sick pilgrims. Its mission was soon extended to care for all people in need with no distinction of race, religion, and ethnic origin. This mission is carried out today in about 120 countries. For more than 900 years, the Order has been recognized as an international sovereign entity, and although it lost control of its principal territory, the island of Malta, it has retained its identity as an international sovereign body. Today, our headquarters are in Rome and are regarded as extraterritorial by the surrounding state of Italy. We have formal diplomatic relations to 105 countries, many of which are non-Catholic, and we engage in exchange of ambassadors with these other states. The Order was also granted permanent observer status at the United Nations in 1994. Today, I want to focus on the humanitarian work of the Order, which has become a major part of our activities over generations. Our commitment to the sick and the poor is absolutely impartial and neutral. Not only is the Order not aligned with any political bloc, our humanitarian programs are administered regardless of religion or race. The Order's humanitarian relief agency, Malteser International, is ensuring the health and dignity of millions of people around the globe by implementing over 100 projects. With great concern, we observe a fast decreasing regard for humanitarian principles. The great achievement of the family of nations after the two world wars in codifying humanitarian principles to be observed in wars and armed conflicts are in danger of becoming mere papers. The generation to come may only see them exposed in a museum and deplore the loss of high cultural achievements of a past civilization. We must not accept this development and work against it. Against this background and this experience, and in working with the poor and the sick, who have become the innocent victims of conflict worldwide, the Order highly appreciates and welcomes the initiative of UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon to convene the World Humanitarian Summit. Bringing together the global community in order to forge new partnerships and find better ways to meet humanitarian needs in the future is nowadays absolutely mandatory. In order to contribute and support this initiative, we are gathered here today to explore how faith-based institutions and humanitarian actors can better assist and protect civilians in times of conflict. And more specifically, what could be the distinguishing help of faith-based institutions. This exploration needs to combine an investigation of the dimensions of conflict, religion, and humanitarian aid. Only by viewing these three dimensions in combination is it possible to make an objective assessment and to draw good conclusions for our future work. To get a better grasp of how religious institutions and organizations can improve, we need to deal with the role of religion in conflict, be honest about both the positive and negative impact of humanitarian aid on situations of conflict, as well as explore the particular role that faith-based organizations play when they provide humanitarian aid in conflicts and elsewhere. Wars have been fought in the name of different gods and goddesses since ancient times. Therefore, it is often suggested that since religion has been involved in all sorts of conflicts, it is at the core of these clashes. The current barbarities committed worldwide by groups which refer to a religion for their justification, like ISIS, Al-Shabaab, Boko Haram, and Anti-Balaka in Central Africa, and the long-standing regional conflicts in the Near and Middle East are prompting many people to ask if religion is the cause of most conflicts in the world. I think it is far too simplistic to lay the blame on religion as the main source of conflict. The last century was full of examples of mass killing and wars which needed no God. The picture of war is too complex to paint with just one color. And when it comes to the role of religion, it is my firm belief that religion is misused as a source of influence to pursue the very secular interests of power. Religious motivations can induce violence when separated from moral content and poisoned by corruption and driven by power. Conflicts may contain religious elements. However, they are always driven by cultural, economic, ethnic, territorial and other factors, such as external powers and pressures. Maybe the answer to conflict with a religious element is not less religion, but more. More of religion's peaceful, non-violent content as a rich source of reconciliation, social tolerance, devotion, humanitarian commitment, empowerment, and peace-building. Taking this up, it is both interesting and striking that humanitarian aid itself is often contested in the same way as religion. The equivalent of the question of whether religion causes war is, does humanitarian aid prolong conflict? Everyone in the humanitarian world knows about the problems and negative effects of humanitarian aid. Conflict parties often manipulate aid for their own benefit. Agencies create aid dependency. Assistance is used as a substitute for political action. The issue of aid giving power to belligerents and many other issues can influence the dynamics of conflict in terms of its duration and violence. However, here again the picture is incomplete. Humanitarians know about these challenges and are doing their best to mitigate the consequences. Standards, norms and principles have been put in place, and even if these measures are often overruled by reality, the humanitarians are rarely most responsible for that. They choose to save lives where they can. And this is most important in those settings that are far from the ideal humanitarian world. Helping people has never been easy. Therefore, one should not contest humanitarian aid at every possible opportunity, but work to improve the humanitarian system in all its facets. That's the right thing to do. In this way, our approach to humanitarian aid in conflict should be similar to our approach to religion in conflict. Not less humanitarian aid, but more is the answer. In the same way that not less religion, but more is needed, coupled always with an acute awareness of its positive and negative effects. This leads to the role of faith-based or religion-based institutions and organizations in humanitarian aid. In understanding and dealing with the issue of conflict, humanitarianism and religion, the circle of themes for today's symposiums becomes complete. The question in this context is what makes us as a religion-based actor distinct from secular actors? Do we do different things or do we do same things differently? Everybody now recognizes that religion-based actors are a crucial part of the architecture of international humanitarian activity. The common perception is that this is true because religion-based actors and faith-based organizations have professionalized to the point of having no differences to secular actors. However, I strongly believe that religious actors have a unique position through the power of their conviction. Their reach, their motivation, and their longevity over and above that of secular organizations. Assisting the poor is deeply rooted in the teachings of religions. Further, I believe that the particular strengths of religion-based actors do not stop at the operational level. We never lose sight of the spiritual dimension of people in need. Our assistance responds not only to material demands, combining technical care with an ethical and spiritual dimension. However, we should not conceal the challenges that are particular to some faith-based actors. Faith-based action is rightly challenged when faith actors exclude members of other faith backgrounds, proselytize and put pressure on people to convert as a precondition for support, or when they stigmatize and discriminate against individuals or groups of peoples. The inappropriate behavior of just one faith actor can discredit us all. We therefore must do everything we can to lead by example and to demonstrate that faith-based action does not undermine the principle of impartiality and neutrality, and that our spiritual vision is not in conflict with the impartial humanitarian imperative. We must be moved to act by faith in an inclusive, not exclusive way. I firmly believe we are all well positioned to develop our approach and to adapt to the challenges of a changing world. Steps forward to improve the assistance of people in conflict need to include the promotion of the positive role for reconciliation that religion can play through the unifying power of shared faith or the shared conviction that religion is at the source of their values. The establishment of interreligious dialogue to learn about other religions and provide for a common understanding of our special humanitarian mandate. These elements, among others, are crucial to improve our position and enhance our effectiveness. Religion-based actors are well placed to interact with the religious infrastructure in affected areas, which in most cases plays a crucial role in organizing help and promoting peace. In conclusion, let me share with you two examples. After the terrible tsunami in 2005, we helped to rebuild villages in Aceh, Indonesia. When I visited the region, the local mullah, while greeting me at the entrance of the village, remarked how satisfied he was for being helped by people who were honoring God. He then invited me to the newly built mosque to pray together, him saying a Muslim prayer, myself a Christian. In Lebanon, Our order runs 10 socio-medical centers all over the country, some of them in close cooperation with other religions, with the Druze, the Sunnites, in the south with the Shiites. Their Shiite nurses wear our cross on their working dress. You will hear more about it later. The cooperation in the humanitarian field by religious-based organizations plants seeds of peace and creates a bond of mutual trust and confidence among people of different religions. I am very pleased that today we can embark on a journey of mutual discovery. I would like to thank you very much for your kind attention, and I hope the symposium will be a great success. And I like to encourage you to have an open discussion, to go out of the normal narrative and to be frank. We have to have a frank brainstorming. Thank you very much.